Welcome to 13 Degrees of Screams,
where we scream so you don't scream.
We're your host, Alex.
And Stephanie.
And this week, we travel into the Shimmer in Annihilation.
Before we get started, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell to be notified when we post new episodes.
Annihilation is a 2018 science fiction horror thriller film written and directed by Alex Garland, loosely based on the 2014 novel of the same name by Jeff VanderMeer. The story follows a group of scientists who enter the Shimmer, a mysterious quarantine zone of mutating plants and animals caused by an alien presence. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has 88% with a critical consensus that states, Annihilation backs up its sci-fi visual wonders and visceral genre thrills with an impressively ambitious and surprisingly strange exploration of challenging themes that should leave audiences pondering long after the credits roll. It also has a 67% audience score. So, Stephanie,
Alex,
had you seen Annihilation before we watched it for the podcast?
No, but I felt like I had. You had talked about it a couple of times, and I felt like I knew a little bit going in, so...
Just a little bit.
Yeah. I think before we had the horror podcast, you were talking to me about it, and then I was like, maybe we should get together and do this.
Spoiler alert, I love this movie, so I'd be curious to see how you thought about it after me talking it up so much.
Okay.
Be gentle. No, I'm just kidding. You can say what you want.
Okay. Well, like aliens aren't my thing, so it's harder for me to be invested. It's always like I'm always going in with a negative there when it comes to that. But I will say, visually speaking, everything was really pretty to look at, and I was invested in the mystery of all of it. I just, again, have some questions.
Oh, girl. Yeah. This is one of those movies, like, especially at the end, and we'll get there when we get there, it's very open to interpretation. And for what it's worth, I'm also not a huge alien movie person, but the bulk of the movie has really nothing to do with like aliens. It's just this weird, bizarre world that has since it was transforming our planet. So that's why I like it a lot. It's like very different from your typical like aliens are coming. It's like, no, you get to see this world that has been transformed by whatever this thing did.
Yeah, it's more sci-fi, I think, than you could just say like alien or horror. But just the world building is very sci-fi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I will say the book, it said loosely based on the book. The book is way more like bizarre. It is way different. I've never read it, but based on what I could tell, like at the end when you see the thing, in the book, it's actually like this guy who turned into a tower, but the tower's like in the ground. It's actually a hole. So it's like the whole thing's this guy. And that's just like the scratch the surface, like how it's different. So
yeah.
It's all very weird, but that's why I appreciate it, because it is very different.
Mm-hmm. Also makes you wonder, like, if you went into the Shimmer, like, what would be the thing that affected you? Like, because just as a first time watcher too, like I'm just kind of like watching them all experience these things together. And I was like, oh, well, whoever has one ailment, the rest of the group will be having that ailment. Mm-hmm. And it's not the case, really. It seems almost like the environment is like portions of it are genetically pulled to other genetics and stuff like that are all affecting them in their own individual ways. Like no one has like everyone turns to flowers moment or something like that. Like,
yeah, you don't know. Yeah. Anything will get you at any moment. You have no idea. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of messed up. Like I watch this movie, I'm like, man, I kind of want to go in the Shimmer. I'm like I'm so curious. Like I know it's a very bad idea.
Oh yeah.
Like very bad. Like I will literally die doing this. But I'm like,
be curious. What would it do?
Kinda. Yeah. I'm like, Steph, let's go in. Let's see what you turn into and see what happens to me. Like,
yeah. Wouldn't that be fun for us?
I hope I get to be a wolf hybrid. That'd be fun.
Ooh.
Like, oh, look at me. So it's just, I don't know. I'm just very interested in the whole idea of the Shimmer and like just seeing all the things happening.
Yes. Yeah. And like visually speaking, like the mutations of the flowers and stuff like that, they're really pretty, and like the plant life, very picturesque to look at, even though they're like supposedly not real species. And yeah.
I also really like that it's a whole like female team. I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, nice. Yeah, girls, let's go.
Yeah, because when I first like found out exactly what was going to be happening with Lena, and I was like, oh, well, Lena's definitely going to go in, but she's probably going to go in with like some Jughead army kind of team, and it's going to be annoying because she's going to want to find out what happened to her husband, and they're all like, we're men.
I know, yeah. And, not to pit men and women against each other, but it is, men and women do things a little bit differently. So it's interesting to see like a sci-fi movie where they're all women and how they kind of would react to this kind of situation.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting too with like the self-destruction element throughout it. Like everyone has their own like self-destructive behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually a major theme of the movie and the book too.
Yeah. But it almost seems to like play into each other too. Like it also plays into like what happens in this world.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
So I would say give it another watch. I will say I enjoyed it more each time I watch it. So you might pick up some more things.
Okay.
It's fun. I like it.
Are you ready to get into the plot?
I am.
Lena, a professor of cellular biology and a former U.S. Army soldier, finds herself being questioned. She was part of a mission into a mysterious area called the Shimmer, and she's now the sole survivor. A few months ago, Lena believed her husband Kane was killed in action a year ago, but he suddenly returned, although he couldn't explain his whereabouts during his absence or how he made it back. Unfortunately, his health quickly declines, so Lena calls for medical help, but both are intercepted by security and taken to a secret location. In a place known as Area X, she meets psychologist Dr. Ventress, who tells her that her husband is in critical condition with multiple organ failure. The two discuss his deployment as he never discussed his assignments with Lena. Dr. Ventress shows a map of a thing called the Shimmer, which originated 3 years ago from a meteor that struck a lighthouse in the St. Mark's National Wildlife Refuge in Florida, and it has been gradually expanding ever since. Numerous expeditions have been launched, but only Lena's husband Kane has made it back out.
So Dr. Ventress.
Yeah.
Can she seem any more disinterested in anything that's going on?
I'm like, girl, just show an emotion, something. Like, give me something.
She's so beyond over this shit because you learn like groups after groups have been going into this thing and not coming back. And as you said, Kane's the only person to ever like come back from it. She's just like, I feel like she's just so tired. She's just like, bitch, like, come on.
No, literally, she's like, yeah, the one group came in, didn't come out. Another group went in, they're dead. Just so disinterested.
Seriously, yeah, that's the one thing about that character. I'm like, okay, like,
yeah,
all right, like, well, how are we supposed to feel
do you
about
want
this
job? Like, are you?
I don't think she does. I really don't, because it's just like she just seems so tired.
Yeah, and then the major concern that is it's spreading, and even then she doesn't seem passionate about it. She's like, it's just doing what it does.
Yeah. Do you think at this point she just doesn't think it's going to be able to stop, and she just kind of accepted that?
Well, we learn more about her personal life as well, so then we find out like, oh, that makes sense. It doesn't matter to her. It's just the same to her. Yeah.
Right, but like, I guess that's the different. Like, yeah, she doesn't care, maybe, quote unquote. But do you think she also just, there's no stopping this thing, even if I go in and try?
Yeah, it could be that acceptance as well. I mean, we don't know how many expeditions have gone, so maybe she was super passionate the first two, and then just gradually got to like, and then you'll go in, and then you'll probably die.
You know, it's funny. One of the books, so this is actually based on the trilogy of books. So the first one's Annihilation. One of them is called Acceptance. It's Annihilation, Authority, and Acceptance, I think. So perhaps they're just like, this is it now.
Yeah.
And that's where she's at.
It's kind of like the stages of grief, or like like a self-destructive grief.
She's like, I accept it. It's fine.
Yeah. Might as well be happening.
Yes. Yeah. So this character, the whole movie really just shows like no care or concern for anything that's happening. Yeah. She's like, yep, that happened. Oh, that's weird. All right. Anyways.
Right.
I'm like, what a mood.
Yeah. She's definitely marching at the beat of her own drum for this.
Mm-hmm. And then we got Kane, who comes back after like a year. Mm-hmm. And then Lena just assumes he died.
Yeah, well, I guess he never gave her updates, even like before he had like really left, but then like she was contacting the base, I guess, trying to get any information on like him or his squad, and they were just like, nope, nothing, confidential or whatever. So I guess she was like, must be dead.
Yeah, right. At this point, at what point do you like cut your losses? Because like she doesn't know for certain, right? So she's like, okay, I guess I gotta move on with my life a little bit.
Yeah, and she is definitely having an affair with her coworker, I'm guessing. I didn't know if it was implied that she was having an affair with him before it was confirmed that Kane went missing. I think that was what they were saying.
Well, she had an affair with him before he left.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Like before.
Yeah.
Like even while he was like still sleeping in their bed. Oh, okay.
Which, that happened before he even went away.
Really?
Yeah.
But they do a lot of sex scenes between her and Kane, and well, I mean, I guess the same sex scene and this affair partner too, but still, like it's like, okay, we get it. They had sex. Like,
yeah, I think it's just trying to drive home the guilt that she's feeling for everything.
Yeah. But then it jumped to the affair partner. I was like, oh, okay.
Who's that?
I see.
Right, because I think that was kind of the point, or like in editing, the plan with that was to make it seem like, okay, she moved on, she was having sex with that other guy, but only to find out that happened before he even left.
Right.
So I was like building on like the why she is like feeling that way.
Yeah, and they sort of give us like a red herring in the very beginning, like her coworker, before she realizes that Kane's back and everything. She gets invited to her coworker's barbecue, and I was like, why would you invite your affair partner to your home with your wife? And he was like, yeah, it's no big deal. Like, Kane died a year ago. Let's move on with this thing. I'm like, no.
Yeah, let's get moving, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Like, sir.
Yeah.
You don't get to dictate when we move on.
The crazy thing is, like, her and Kane don't seem to be having like marital issues, at least what we see of them together before he comes back from the Shimmer. They seem to be very much in love. Like, they're constantly like joking and fondling each other and stuff like that. It seems like they're very close. And then to find out that she's having an affair just because Kane won't communicate with her about work, it seems like that's the only reason she's got to have an affair.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, even like the happiest of couples on the outside, you don't know their like issues. So I feel like that's also kind of part of that. Like, yeah, they seem completely fine, but you don't know what's like really happening.
Yeah. But it is a stark difference compared to like when he comes back. Like, you can tell he's definitely different.
He's not. He's like, I think I'm Kane. Like, what do you mean?
Like, I think I come here. Do I live here? Like,
who are you? Who am I? Yeah. So that's problematic.
Yeah, for sure. While Kane is in intensive care, Dr. Ventress organizes a new expedition into the Shimmer, which Lena joins to learn more about what happened to him. They are accompanied by 3 other women: Cass, a geomorphologist, Anya, a paramedic, and Josie, a physicist. Inside the Shimmer, communication devices fail, and they lose time upon entering, only learning from the rations remaining that days have passed. That's crazy to me.
That is the shit that scares me. Like, I take a nap for a couple hours and I wake up, I don't know where I am. Like, that's enough to send me into a panic. That's why I hate taking naps. Like, I hate losing hours of time. And like, they find out it was like 2 weeks. And they don't even remember setting up camp. They don't remember anything. Yes. And that is absolutely terrifying to me.
Yeah, because we just see them go into the Shimmer, and then like cut to next scene, they're coming out of their tents and they're like, "Do you remember setting up camp? Do you remember how long we've been here? We don't. We're just making sure on the same page."
Yeah, I feel like that's such a sense of control thing. Because like, if you can't even control like when or where you're at, like, how are you going to trust or be able to move forward with anything? Because you could blink and then it'll be like a month later. You have no idea. Like, what did I even do?
And then already at this point, I feel like they're lost too, because like they've gone weeks, at least days, into the Shimmer. We don't know what direction other them we're thinking. Like, if they don't remember, like,
yeah, because they mentioned the compass doesn't work, but then they mentioned being able to tell where they are based on the sun.
Yes.
But also, like, can you trust that that's like actually where it is? Like,
because it's outside the Shimmer. Yeah.
Right. Like, maybe that's not actually the sun. Maybe that's just like somehow light being refracted differently. Like, you don't know.
Yeah, true.
You can't assume anything's actually what it is. And then granted, they just got in there, so they don't really know everything yet. So, but they still use the sun as a guiding source to where they're trying to get to, which is the southernmost part of the Shimmer.
Yes. The Shimmer seems to have a mutated effect on the plant and animal life within its perimeter. Josie is attacked by a white alligator with multiple layers of teeth. And then at a deserted military base, they find a video from Kane's mission showing him slicing open a fellow soldier's abdomen, revealing writhing intestines. In another part of the building, they discover the soldier's body transformed into a massive lichen growth.
In a messed up way, that growth is like kind of beautiful in a way. Like, you're like, oh, that's kind of messed up. But then it's also like weird alien plants, like fungus looking.
The colors, like they're all very vivid colors too. Like they even show like the siding of the building and stuff like that. It's just like these bursts of colors, but they say that they're like tumor growths. And like there's reds and yellows. They're very vivid. And you're like, oh, scary, but pretty. Like, good job. Right? Like,
yeah, I really love that kind of mix of really horrific visuals with something kind of beautiful. I think that's really neat.
Yeah.
And the whole Shimmer is like that. It's like actually pretty bright most of the time. Like everything that's happening is bright, rainbowy effects and beautiful flowers and
the midsummer before midsummer's time.
Yeah, exactly.
Or did that come out the same year?
I don't know. I guess
it might have actually.
I don't know what year Midsummer came out. The Shimmer, like the wall when you're about to go in, looks like soap, like watery
like
soap and oil. Yeah,
it's
like, I don't know. It's pleasing. I'm like, this is nice.
So you're like, maybe I'll go in.
But what's the worst that could happen, Stephanie?
A lot.
Yeah, true.
Yes. One night, while Lena and Ventress are on watch discussing humanity's self-destructive nature, Cassie joins them, but they're soon attacked by a monstrous bear that drags Cassie away. Lena finds her remains the next morning, and we learn from the earlier crocodile incident that only really Lena has any experience shooting since she was in the army. Everyone else just kind of like firing off bullets in the air. Like,
right. I'm like, did you go through any sort of training before
did you practice for at least a day before?
I don't think so.
No, they're just like, here's a gun. Good luck.
Okay, put me in, coach. Just like running and never having actually shot the thing.
Just holding it like this, like just above your head.
This is what I do, right?
Yeah.
This is meant to just scare things off. Like I just shoot in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should work.
So when they all realized that, when Cassie's not standing in the box with them, I was like, why? Why are you standing outside? Like,
what are you doing?
Like, she's just like, what's going on outside of the box? Like, oh. Goodbye.
Oh, get in the box, lady. What are we doing? Yeah.
In a nearby deserted village, Josie examines plants with humanoid shapes and theorizes that the Shimmer acts like a prism, altering and reshaping everything within it, including their DNA. Anya, paranoid after noticing her changing fingertips, restrains the others and accuses Lena of killing Cassie. The bear returns, mimicking Cassie's voice to lure Anya, then kills her. Josie frees herself and shoots the bear.
This scene.
Intense.
Yes. This is like the best scene. It's so fucked up, Stephanie.
Right. Well, let's first unpack what all is happening with Anya here.
I guess, yeah, Anya.
So she sees her fingertips moving, and she's also kind of like triggered by the video. Like, she doesn't want to believe like what they saw when Kane opened up the soldier's abdomen in the video. So she at first is just like, if I open my abdomen, are there snakes writhing inside of me? And she's like, but I don't have to open mine because you guys are tied up, not me. And I was like, oh, are we doing that? Like,
yeah, I don't know. She's just like really quickly starts
just
losing
lost it. Yeah.
Because like when you watch the video, or when the characters watch the video, like they're very clearly not right in the head. Like the guy getting cut barely even cares what's happening.
Yeah.
They're just like, like, yeah, your like biology is definitely changing and the DNA, but like your mind is also being massively altered.
Yeah.
Like she's like definitely out of the group of them, losing it the quickest.
Yes. And I feel like their DNA is like combining with each other's too, because about like midway through we noticed that Lena has a tattoo on her arm all of a sudden, and she didn't previously, we're pretty sure. And Charlie pointed out that Anya had like this 8 on her forearm, but by the time they get back, at least by the time Lena leaves to have the interrogation, she has an 8 on her arm now.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was there before.
I don't think so either. I mean, I can't remember now, like off the top of my head.
So even though they're like other and not from the environment, like they are meshing with each other in a way too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, anything in there is kind of getting mixed together.
Yeah.
It's like in a big pot.
Yeah.
And this Stephanie.
This bear.
This bear is the bear that killed Cass, obviously. But then it took her voice in the last moments, and now it just screams, "Help me." That is so messed up.
And then like the whole skull of the bear is exposed. So like I'm guessing he's just going off of what he can hear or like what movements he can sense. But yeah, so at first he's able to like round all of them that are tied up. Like he's already basically attacked Anya to the point where she might be dead. And the bear circles them tied up and is doing like the help me thing. But he does kind of like start to focus on Josie and like just the screaming in her face, like the help me and stuff like that. And like, how do you not react in some way?
I know. I would be like, what the? I probably want to start crying. Like it would be all bad because like the sight of the bear with its exposed skull is bad enough, let alone hearing the last moments of
your friend dying. Yeah.
It's screaming, "Help me." Like that is, that's beyond terrifying.
Yeah. And they theorize too afterwards that like, it must have like taken her brain at the last moment or something like that, and it absorbed it into itself. So
yeah,
in a way, Cassie lives on in the bear screaming for help.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. Do you think Cassie's conscience is in this bear a little bit?
I really hope not. I hope it's more or less just the voice, not like the actual like capacity of like I'm bear now. Like
Eyes bear.
Eyes
right.
bear. Eyes bear, but I'm scared. Like
that, because that's the thing. You don't really know if it just like took like her voice or something like that, or if like part of Cassie's in there.
Yeah,
which is
because I think that's what upsets Josie the most. She thinks it did take her consciousness.
Yeah. Which that's worse than death. Anything like worse than death is like what really scares me. So like being killed by a killer, okay, like I'm dead. Like there's nothing beyond that. But like being killed isn't bad enough apparently. So now I'm like trapped in this bear. Like that's you know,
during
anything
the
like
worst
that.
moment of my life. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this whole bear scene is just like oof.
Yeah, it kills Anya, and Josie is eventually able to shoot it. Luckily, she's like close enough to like because it was going to kill Lena for a second.
Yeah, it was getting close.
Ventress leaves to reach the lighthouse, the Shimmer's epicenter, and Josie believes Cassie's consciousness became part of the bear and decides to let herself transform into a plant-like figure, avoiding a similar fate. And it's just like instantly, like as soon as she accepts that, you know, like I'm not going to fight whatever is happening, it's just like boom, like she's gone. Like, like you could see like the flowers like kind of like popping up on her arm as she walked away. And then all of a sudden she's just not there anymore.
Right. Which is also scary to think about because earlier you see the same plant shaped things. And are those people that turn into plants? Or are those plants that grew in the shape of people?
I think people that turned into plants.
Like that's messed up too. Because what if again part of them is still like they're plants now, but what if they're still like conscious?
Oh yeah.
As a plant. Now they're living their life just
as a plant. Yeah.
Terrifying.
And they like plucked flowers off of the first people that they saw to
did that
samples.
Hurt?
Yeah.
Did that hurt? It might have hurt.
Ooh.
No good.
No.
It's all bad.
It's all bad. I mean, I think the easiest thing so far is to be a plant person, though, compared to like a bear after you get killed by it. Like,
yeah, I mean, it would, but like, could you imagine? Like, you're literally just standing there doing nothing for the rest of however long you live as a plant.
Yeah, I guess.
Just doing nothing. Just like, imagine sitting in this seat now, not being able to do anything. Like, That's terrible.
Well, assuming that you get your consciousness, hopefully, maybe they move on after that, like
well, that's what I'm hoping for them. Like, hopefully she's not actually still
stuck like that. Yeah.
Aware inside of a flower.
Right. Lena continues to the lighthouse, discovering Kane's remains and a videotape. The footage shows Kane instructing a cameraman to find Lena before he ends his life with a phosphorus grenade, after which a duplicate Kane appears.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
It's not actually Kane.
It's not.
Are we surprised?
No.
We kind of know. Like, as soon as you...
Either he was so messed up that, by all of this, that he was never going to be him again because of how long he was there. Because they think he might have been there for the whole year. Yeah. You're right. Or he's just not him.
How was he there a whole year, but we got Josie turning into a plant, not too long?
3 weeks or whatever.
Although, to be fair, it seemed like a couple weeks to them. Who knows how long it actually was to the outside world?
I forget how long they said it was. At least a few months. They were like, did you run out of food?
Yeah.
You must have.
Right.
Inside the crater made by the meteor, Lena encounters Ventress, who reveals that the Shimmer will eventually consume everything. Ventress disintegrates into a glowing cloud that absorbs Lena's blood, creating a faceless entity that mirrors Lena's actions. Lena tricks this creature into detonating one of Kane's grenades as it mimics her form. She escapes as the lighthouse burns, causing the Shimmer to collapse, destroying itself in the process.
I will say this ending gets a little weird. I don't understand the whole Ventress thing. Is that actually her? Because initially you see her, the front of her briefly, and she doesn't have a face.
Yeah, but then when she turns to talk to her, she does.
So it makes it... I don't think that's actually her. I think that's the alien.
Oh, maybe.
Body. Because, what is she talking about? How does she know this? Why is she there?
Right.
So I don't think that was actually her. Similarly to how that faceless, featureless version of Lena's created. So I don't know. It's really weird.
I was also mad at her for leaving the group and being like, I'm going to go to the lighthouse. And everyone's like, we'll go too. Where are you going? Wait, we'll come with you.
That's what we're all currently doing.
Right.
Why are you?
She's just like, no, I'm gonna go by myself. I'm like,
girl, bye. I guess.
Don't follow me. What?
But we are, because that's our goal.
Where we need to go. Yeah.
So we're gonna follow you. Not because we want to follow you, but because that's where we're also going.
But they're not going fast enough. I don't know. I was like, it wasn't like the girls were all like, let's redecorate this house.
Yeah, let's just live here. Why not?
This is nice. Bear carcass in the room, our dead friend. Also great.
What else does the Shimmer have to offer for you? You know, you might as well cut your losses and stay there.
Mm-hmm. Did you notice the house looked similar to Lena's house too?
It is. Yep. Yeah, because that's part of it too. At least they don't really say it in the movie per se, but doing research into the book, that it also your DNA, but your memories and everything internally in your mind also gets kind of refracted out, which is why it created the form of her house.
Okay, so that explains why she's having so many flashbacks with the lover affair thing.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. It's making her think of these things.
Well, damn, can't even be safe in your own thoughts.
No, it's good. You're gonna see them.
Oh man.
No good.
No. After the Shimmer's destruction has been confirmed, Lena's interrogation ends, and she learns that Kane's condition has improved. She visits the Kane duplicate, questioning if he is truly Kane, to which he expresses doubt. When he asks if she is really Lena, she remains silent. They embrace and their eyes glimmer with the same shimmer.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my God. So, reading into that, it's meant to be kind of ambiguous. Is that her? Because realistically, because their DNA's got so jumbled up in there, that still could really be the original Lena that went in.
Yeah, it's just that she's so changed that it's not like she really is her.
Right. So what are your thoughts on that? Because when we see it happening, it looks very clear that the duplicate was the one that got blown up based on who was positioned where.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's the duplicate or the real Lena, or if it even matters, because if the duplicate and the original Lena become so mixed, it's almost like two of the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's more it, because we know Kane for sure duplicate because of the video and stuff like that, which he seemed like way more accepting, which was weird. But so be it. We know he's the duplicate. But with Lena, with her blowing up her duplicate, I wonder if almost like part of it absorbed into original Lena, so then it's almost as if the duplicate made it out anyway, because so much of this world is just refracting into each other, mixing, like if you sit next to a tree, I feel like you're going to become part tree, like just because, like you're
and then the tree's going to be part you. So it's what's the difference?
Yeah.
Now, hear me out. What if the Kane that blew up was the duplicate still? Because if they're both, because you find out that Lena and the duplicate kind of mirror each other, right? So what if, like, okay, they get to a point where they're very similar. Like, what if Kane still convinced the duplicate to blow itself? You know what I'm saying? Like, it could still very have been the duplicate. I don't think it is, but like something to think about. Like, it could have still been him
in a sense. Yeah. I don't know. At least like the way that they depicted their videos and stuff like that, their experience being at like a 10 with like cutting each other open and stuff like that. Very like Jughead, We Are Men situation, I feel like.
Yeah.
So even if somewhat of Kane's identity really got out, like, or somehow of his form did, I don't know. I think even like the way they style the actor's hair and stuff like that. I know he's the same person, but he doesn't look like him in a way. So it almost feels like taking out the possibility of the environment combining with him and stuff like that. Part of his troop is probably absorbed into him as well. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, we see that with Lena, at least. Like, we assume that that's what's happened. She's probably part Ventress, Anya, Cassie, Josie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it almost doesn't matter if it's the duplicate or not, because there might be, I mean, they got mixed together. So like, even if the original Lena came out, she's also going to be part whatever was in the Shimmer.
Right.
So what's the difference if the duplicate, who is still part Lena, came out too? Yeah. You know?
I was wondering too if that implied that somehow, since something made it out of the Shimmer, something that's been affected, like as in the two of them, if that means that they would somehow try to recreate the dome again to make it affect more of the area, like if they would be like on the side of the Shimmer, coming back and affecting more things, like
because like it gets destroyed, so you don't really know how it got created, really, like if they're able to just set up a new Shimmer, because it just crash lands and it appears.
Yeah.
So for the longest time, we don't even know there's like a entity, which I don't even know if there is. Like, it just creates whatever it's being mirrored. So it's not even like a physical body to begin with.
Yeah.
You see, well, it's kind of like
call
this
it alien, like when they're interrogating her, but
alien in the sense of
alien is a really rough form to actually describe it. Like, it's just other.
Yeah, I think that's what because I think the form where the blood drops in that she's looking at, that is what it is. Like, that is the Shimmer, the entity. And it just creates images of whatever's. So
I wonder if they will continue like affecting their environment just because they are essentially the Shimmer, like like even if there is no dome or anything, that they will be like mixing into each other, mixing into everything else in their environment.
Yeah, who knows? But that was Annihilation. Woo!
Yeah.
Are you ready to talk about our scary scenes and our overall rating?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, first and foremost, I already talked about it, the damn bear.
I know.
Legitimately scares me.
This is what you told me about the bear.
Right.
I was like, I know everything about this damn bear. Like,
when I first saw it, I thought it was the coolest concept. I was mortified, horrified, but I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah. It's definitely a new fear unlocked. Like,
fear unlocked.
Combining with an animal essence in my worst moment. Like, yeah, that's definitely something to think about.
Yeah. I thought that would happen. I also had the moving intestines, because what the hell?
Right. I needed more explanation on that. What was going on in there? Like,
intestines were moving. It's simple as that. It was just like...
I was almost wondering if they were going to pull them out, like, because they thought, like, snake inside. But I guess it was just his intestines just doing that.
They were just doing their thing.
Yeah, just
moving about. Shimmy, shimmy. And then again, I kind of alluded to the whole turning into plants. Not like the visual of turning into a plant, because it's really pretty to look at.
Yeah.
But the thought of spending the rest of my days
as a plant
is just kill. I'd rather just die. In all these scenarios, just kill me. Like, if any part of my existence is still about.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I'm on the side of, like, the consciousness gets absorbed. So I thought turning into a plant was, like, the most peaceful way, because I was like, if you're gonna die, you're gonna die. So
yeah.
Plant, sure.
Oh, 100%. If that's the case where you're dead, but you're like, what's left of your body turns into a plant. I just don't know, because everything's just so bouncing off each other that like, do you actually like really die in this thing, or do you just move about into a different form? Like,
right. I feel like, based on what we got out of Lena and Kane, like, they're so mixed up and different from the end. Like, I can't even say that their consciousness came back, really. Like, they don't even know really who they are. So,
right. Yeah.
Maybe
totally.
that's the first thing to go.
Right. But also, like, if there's just a small part of you, like, kind of think back to, like, Get Out, where, like, you're still in your body, but you have no control of what's happening. Like, even there's like a piece of you still in there.
Okay.
Like
you're like the 1% out of like 99 else, like other things. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I never read the book, so I don't know if it like ever actually tells you answers to that. And then the movie doesn't also, you don't really know. But if like you're really just considering all the possibilities here, like on the worst end of the spectrum is that you're still like kind of...
Yeah, no, if you take the consciousness into the mix, then yeah, that's terrible. No matter what. No matter what you're getting absorbed into. Even if you become a cloud, you're like, wow, this sucks.
Can you imagine? We're about to like change form because we went to the Shimmer from earlier in the episode. And we're like, Stephanie, I'm about to turn. What am I going to be? Just turn into a fucking cloud. Yeah. Like, bro, what is this?
I wanted to be a wolf.
Right, I wanted to be a wolf.
Yeah.
Were there any specific scenes that stood out to you outside of those?
So I won't say this was scary, but it was like very pretty to see when she comes across the deer while she's looking for Cassie, and like the deer are mirror images of each other, and they're just like there's like their own being. I wouldn't recognize them as any particular type of deer, but yeah, they just like they move in synchronicity, and then they're surrounded by the flowers and stuff of this unique alien world. I don't know, just very pretty imagery to look at. But I did say Ventress becoming a black hole, a cloud, and essentially being the scariest thing, because she becomes fire from within first. That seems like a lot. A
little extra on her half, on her behalf.
Do we expect anything else?
Actually, the way she acted this whole movie, I would expect her just to turn into a puddle and be done. But now she's like, I'm going to shoot lights out of every hole.
Right. I didn't get to have any emotions until now.
Yeah, look at me. It turned into this weird, I don't know, it's like a shifting orb. And
yeah, like at first, like her whole body kind of like engulfs in flame, but like from the inside. So like you see her throat lighting up, and then everything kind of turns into a fiery kind of shape, and then it's like absorbed into like the cloud thing.
Yeah, it's like a nebulous moving shifting thing. But yeah.
Well, I think to have your essence lost in that, especially if it's your like consciousness and you're just like waiting to absorb more shit, nah, not it.
not fam.
Not fam.
So taking everything into consideration, what did you have it overall ranked as?
I had it ranked as an 8. It wasn't super terrifying, but I think also I just didn't play into the whole like consciousness thing being a possibility. Like once you were absorbed, like I know that was a theory, but to me it didn't feel like it.
Yeah, that's fair. I just like, when I saw this movie, I did so many like deep dives into like what this could be, because I found it also very fascinating, which is where I'm coming from. So it's hard because this movie, I have it as a 9. Let's put it that way. I have it as a 9. However, the concepts are like a 12 to me. But visually, it's very beautiful, to look at. So it's like that weird, on surface level, it's very pretty to look at, but then you kind of think about the implications of what's happening, and that like terrifies me. Like sometimes I think about space, right, and how it just exists, like,
Yes.
and it just keeps going on and on, like to the point where I get like lightheaded and dizzy because I was like, all that's out there that we have no idea, and
Right.
that's what this feels like. Any kind of like cosmic horror type situation. I have no idea what this means, what the implications are, and that kind of thing. So like from that sense, it's high up there, but the movie overall is like more like a 9.
Yeah. I think if I was seeing a little bit more graphic with the imagery and stuff like that, like I know we've referenced this book before, like The Call by Peter O'Gillen. Like, so they talk about like, and this is not related at all, but just like the combination of body horror about how these fey creatures will just take people and like twist them into their own imagination of like whatever they think would entertain them. So they've stretched people's limbs and their jaws to make them like these dogs for them to ride and stuff like that. Or, they'll take a bunch of people and just like combine them into a blob like creature. And now all of these people are like stuck in this form, and who knows how long they've been trapped like this, where they've lost like their identity because now they are just creature. Yeah. So that implication, if you think about that for this movie, because that could be what happened if there was more people, I think, to play with, but it was a lot more environmental shifts, then that would be real spooky.
Just imagine if this hit in like New York City. Like what would happen?
Oh my God.
So
like
bad.
People in cars combined and stuff like that.
I want to be a car. I'd be so fast. This movie's great. New York Annihilation. That's what I'm talking about.
Just like a taxi cab in your face.
Expect a Photoshop of that coming soon.
Okay, cool.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoy the show and listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, giving us a 5-star rating is super helpful. We always appreciate that. If you are watching the YouTube version, you can like and comment on the video and let us know what you would like us to watch next.
You can find us on social media using 13 Degrees of Screams.
This has been 13 Degrees of Screams, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.